Yeah, that's quite a story, isn't it? Because even the people nowadays, I tell, I was an executive at an automotive company, and then now do trailer parks. Everybody's kind of shocked about that, but there's the major reason behind that why we're doing things like that. So I always was, striving for innovation and like just looking for the next big thing I want to achieve in my life, obviously. So I started very, young in when I was in Germany, like at that company that I eventually moved over from Germany to the US. So in Germany, you have like the dual system, right? You go to school and the company sponsors like your degree basically, and you get
Yeah.
like a technical degree while you're going to school and actually work for a company and they sponsor it. So I did that for that company at that time back in Germany. And then they
Which
had the
one? Which car manufacturer? If it's a car manufacturer,
It
which
wasn't
one?
a it was a supplier for a car manufacturer. So they were called Isolite, and we did heat shields for all the car manufacturers like BMW, Mercedes, even like the ones in the US, did a lot of parts. We did parts of Ferrari, for Bugatti, like the Veyron, we did parts for. I actually worked personally on parts of the Veyron as
Right.
well. So like really cool stuff we worked on. And then from there, really, after I was done with school, that was actually like 08, 09, like really the worst time you actually can graduate because then like getting hired was difficult even in Germany. But they hired me on because one of the five graduates that we had in that group, I was the only one that hired on, thankfully, because my peers were pushing for me to stay in the company because I saw potential, which I still appreciate and super grateful for today. And then from there, like I worked my way up within the company in Germany. And then from basically prototype technician went to like supervisor and then plant manager in plant two in Germany, which was for the mass production facility. And I managed, three shift model manufacturing at that time. And at some point, like I saw in a newspaper that we are going to expand to the US because we have an opportunity to supply BMW with the biggest facility they have in the US in Greenville, South Carolina. And I still remember vividly, like I was on a Saturday, I was programming a robot, with my partner there, and still today a friend. And I saw our CEO walking down the hall, and he was like in jeans and like t-shirt. I never saw him outside of a suit before. I was like, oh man, Matthias over here, same first name as I have, Matthias. Mr. Kroll is his last name. I talked to my friends like, ah man, I saw this in the newspaper that we're gonna expand. I would really love to check out the US. I always dreamed about going over there and just like want to do the next big thing, I felt like a little trapped in my hometown. And he was like, come on, man, go over there, talk to him. And it was one of those crossroad things, where you're like, okay, either you do it, if you don't do it, you regret it at some point. So I was like, okay, let's talk to him. So I was just basically bringing up, my background. We never talked face to face before. It was a bigger company. And then I just expressed my interest moving to the US and spearheading it for the company. And he was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic. Do you speak English?" And I started speaking English with him because I could speak English from school and like
Yeah.
movies and stuff. Not as good as today because I have more practice now, but I was good enough. And little did I know he didn't speak English at all, and he was just nodding like, "Oh yeah, sounds great." And then later, since we were never international with that company, that supplier was always like Europe and like main business was in Germany. He didn't speak English. Our CFO did, but the CEO didn't. And then I didn't know that. And then nothing happened for like 2 or 3 months. I was like, yeah, that probably brushed over me. And then I got a phone call from the CFO, and he was like, I heard that you talked to Mr. Kroll about your interest in moving to the US. Are you still in it and interested? And I'm like, absolutely, sir. Where do I sign up? He's like, well, we're gonna fly next Tuesday. Pack your bags. So I was like, oh, that's quick. So I think it was like a first day. It was like a couple of days later. And then it was like, just let's check it out. No commitment yet, but we would love to have you on board. And the rest is history. We opened a facility up in Greenville, South Carolina, right down the road for BMW has a big facility. They're building all the SUVs there, here in Greenville, where I still live today. Um, and then I was the plant manager initially. We had an executive there, and then I moved to the executive position later as he retired from his job. And then I did chief operating officer at that time, directly reporting to the top management at the headquarters here in Germany over there. So yeah, and then at that point, I worked my way up. Really, I felt like, okay, now what's next? I'm in an executive position. We expanded from Greenville also to Detroit, Michigan. I ran that facility. I did Monterrey,
Wow.
Mexico as well. So I ran three facilities across two countries in North America, which was a blast, by the way. I mean, that was exhausting and I was very stressful, but I was like, this can't be it. I mean, I'm only like mid 30s, I was
Yeah.
like 33 years old or so, and I was like, man, so there must be something else. And I had always like entrepreneurial fire in me, and I was like, I run this company, I make my bosses rich. What's next? And then I was literally Googling during the COVID time, so things slowed down. Like, how do the rich get rich? And I was like, oh yeah, real estate. And I always like real estate came up, and I was like, let's try this real estate thing. And I started reading books like crazy. In during the COVID times, I think I read like 70 plus books in the first year. That was crazy. Just reading constantly, listen to podcasts, and then at some
Yeah.
point, like in late 2021, we did offers on multifamily units like duplexes in our area, and then one deal fell out of contract right before Christmas Eve. And then I was like, oh, that's an opportunity. I probably want to get out of contract here soon. And I did a low ball offer and I jumped on it.